See here. Mark.
President, are you considering a plan to cut corporate taxes? Do you believe America's corporations are not making enough money these days?
Actually, we had an interesting discussion on this subject. And if you read carefully the penetrating reporter by the financial reporter, or kind of like semi-financial reporter, you'll find that it was, I was talking about an idea that has begun to surface as a result of meetings being held at the Treasury Department. And the whole reason to look at corporate rates is to determine whether or not they make us less competitive in a global economy. And if so, in other words, if the conclusion is that our tax structure makes it harder for businesses to compete, therefore making it harder for people to find work over time, then we need to address the competitive imbalance in our tax code. I also made it clear that we're at the very early stages of discussion, and that in my own judgment, anything that would be submitted to Congress, if submitted at all, would have to be revenue neutral. And therefore, what we'd really be talking about is a simplification of a very complex tax code that might be able to lower rates and at the same time simplify the code, which is like shorthand for certain deductions would be taken away. There were certain tax preferences in the code. My view all along has been that the more simple the code, the better, whether it be in the individual income tax side or the corporate tax side. However, I would readily concede to you this is a difficult issue because the reason there's tax preferences in the first place are there are powerful interests that have worked to get the preference in the code, and as I remarked to the distinguished group of writers I was talking to yesterday, it's much easier to get something in the code than get it out of the code. But I do think it's in the interest to constantly evaluate you know, our competitive advantages and disadvantages. And what Hank Paulson told me was that there's a lot of folks who really believe the tax code creates a competitive disadvantage, and therefore it's certainly worth looking at.
On the subject of tax preferences, what about carried interest? Do you think that taxing those at capital gains rates is fair? A lot of people think it's not.
First of all, I think Mark, that what ends up happening is in trying to deal with one particular aspect of partnerships is that you end up affecting all partnerships, and partnerships are an important vehicle to encourage investment and capital flows. They've been important vehicles to encourage the entrepreneurial spirit, and where small businesses have been organized as limited partnerships. So we're very, very hesitant about trying to target one aspect of limited partnerships for fear of the spillover it'll have in affecting small business growth, and so we don't support that.